who replaces Big Axel Tuanzebe, right back. We know he's out for the foreseeable future, having badly injured his hand whilst washing up. Still questions unresolved around that for me. Why does he not have a dishwasher, etc.? But in terms of who replaces him, AJ, you wrote something. I think it went online yesterday, which if you've not read it, go back and read it. Do you want to run us through the options as you see them, and then we can talk about who may best fit? And also, I've got a poll from the KOA army to bring into play as well. We can ask Watson his thoughts.
Yeah, two main ones and a few other ones. And in terms of the main ones, Ben Johnson keeping his place is kind of the one that stands out because he was the one who came in for the last game against West Ham. But I understand that the performance in that game and then probably his performances overall this season haven't been ideal. So there is going to be that kind of feeling that some people want to try something else. So you've got Dara O'Shea, who, as we mentioned, played in that role for Ireland, did quite well, got stuck in, but I know that Ireland fans have been saying, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like he's going to be better playing at centre-back. And then you've also got to think about the fact they've been building this relationship with Jacob Greaves. Other than that, Harry Clark, sorry, I forgot to transfer your paragraph off Word. Harry, that was embarrassing. But essentially thought that with his injury, having come back, having not played for a while, Achilles, I think, can be quite easily triggered again coming back in. It just felt to me that although it would be interesting to see him get a run in the team, it feels like it's a bit of a risk to kind of throw him in at the deep end when you need someone to be starting week in, week out until Axel Tuanzebe is back. Chiwog Bene's played there, but I think that's a bit of a risk. And you could also look at Jens Kizus, who plays there for Sweden occasionally. So I think for me, the two candidates that stand out are Ben Johnson and Dara O'Shea. O'Shea's a bit more of a like-for-like for Axel Tuanzebe. And then Johnson, who at the end of the day has been signed to compete in that right back spot, is a right back. But there will be question marks, I suppose, over those performances that he's had.
Right then, run a poll on the KOA Twitter, just asking who should come in. I had almost 300 votes in a matter of hours yesterday. Interestingly, these are results. So who should replace Axel? The winner with 40% of the vote. And this is a sign generally in terms of football. When you don't play or haven't played for a while, you become a better player. Harry Clark wins the poll, 40%. Dara O'Shea, 34%. Ben Johnson, 25%. Other, 1%. And we've got comments from various people. Noel Baker says anyone but Johnson. Someone else, Calmin, says Johnson for me. McKenna would never give up on a player after a poor performance, work on the training ground and get back in. The sweetest of Welsh princes, says Harvey Davis, says O'Shea at right back, Wolfie brought back in at centre back. Callum Brissett, really don't like the message it would send out if Johnson was to be replaced after one poor start. O'Shea and Greaves are forming a good partnership. Leave it as for me. Hannah Derbyshire says Harry Clark. Epic Prince says bring back the Wolf and play O'Shea, which I think in terms of feedback has been the most popular. What do you reckon, Stewie?
No chance Harry Clark would be the first thing I'd say. He had Achilles surgery on both Achilles tendons in May and hasn't played any sort of, he's not up to speed in terms of playing any games of football or anything like that. So to chuck him straight in from the start, I think is a no-go. For me, I know that there's an outside shout. People said Wolfenden has played right back before, but I can't see that happening. It's a straight shout between sticking with Johnson, and as some of those listeners have pointed out, what does that say to him? That could absolutely destroy his confidence if you take him out after one game, or you go with O'Shea. And I think you have to take into account the opposition and some of their strengths a little bit. And I look at Ndiaye, he's a direct, skillful, left-sided winger for Everton, who's by all accounts been one of their better players so far. They might even put Dwight McNeil back out onto that left-hand side, potentially, if they're looking at Ipswich have got some right-back issues. And as we know, in this system, the right back is essentially a right-sided centre half, tucks inside. And I think that's why it was working so well for Axel, that he was a kind of a centre back playing as a right back. And that would be the same with O'Shea as well. Obviously, the knock-on effect is that you're then not building that partnership between Greaves and O'Shea as discussed. But Luke Wolfenden could find himself hard done by to have dropped out the team. This is a player that Kieran McKenna has been very loyal to. I think he was the most started player under Kieran McKenna up until the end of last season, and had started this season well. I thought he was unfortunate to drop out. So, yeah, it's a straight swap between those two, to be honest. I mean, well, let's not forget that Ben Johnson is a experienced Premier League player, certainly by Ipswich's squad's standards. They brought him in for a reason. It's a home game. He provides a bit more of an attacking threat. Really difficult one to call this.